Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Amna Gul from the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication. We're back with the course Fundamentals of Public Relations bearing the code JMC 331 as well as the course Advertising for Media bearing the code JMC 332. It's a 20th lecture today and the topic is Owned, Paid and Earned Media. We've already discussed owned and paid media in the last lecture, and today we'll be discussing earned media, and then we'll move into their differences and stuff. So the question is, what is earned media? Earned media is publicity or exposure gained from methods other than paid advertising. Publicity or exposure gained from methods other than paid advertising. If owned media sites are the destination, then earned media is the vehicle that helps people get there. What good is a website or social media site if no one is seeing or interacting with it? That's when where earned media comes in. Earned media is essentially online word of mouth, usually seen in the form of viral tendencies or mentions, shares, reposts, reviews, recommendations, or content picked up by third-party sites. One of the most effective driving force of earned media is usually a combination of strong organic rankings on the search engines and content distributed by the brand. First page rankings and good contents are typically the biggest drivers. Rankings on the first page of the search engine places your own media sites and content links in a position to receive higher engagement and shares, which is why a good search engine optimization strategy is critical or crucial rather. When it comes to brand content, interesting, informative content can come in all shapes and sizes, whether it be a blog, infographic, video, press release, webinar, or ebook. The bottom line is that the content has to be worthwhile in order to receive the value of earned media, which is why a great content strategy is also important. So let's go into the details of earned media. Earned media is essentially word of mouth and promotion of the brand done voluntarily by third parties like news channels, influencers, people belonging to the target group, and others. Earned media is the response to a stimulus, that is viral content. So we knew owned media was communication channels owned by the brand. Paid media was paying for content on other sites or other communication channels, while earned media is that some other site, some other third party promotes your brand voluntarily. So your brand has the worth that it is promoted by others on their own choice without you paying for them. It can be news channels, it can be influencers or people belonging to the target group who actually like it or like your product or your brand. So earned media is the response to a stimulus that is viral content. The entire industry of public relations is built around earned media, where they use relationships, content development strategies like press releases and story pitches, and other positive publicity strategies to spread the news about brand and its actions. Earned media is uncontrolled. Unlike paid media, earned media content cannot be controlled or monitored by the brand. The same news can be interpreted differently by different people and can be shared with a different motive by them. This is very, very important that you are happy about your publicity, unpaid publicity, but it is uncontrolled. In case of earned media, that very same piece of news can be interpreted differently by different people, by different organizations, by different channels, and it can be shared with a different motive by them. Then earned media also has plus points. It is trustable. News or other information shared by third party is considered more trustable than when it's shared by the brand itself. So for example, there is a particular news about the brand, any good thing, positive image of the brand that is shared in news that is viewed as more objective or more reliable, more credible by the consumers, rather than if if the brand itself says the same thing about itself. So the difference remains. And it is also economical. Earned media isn't bought and hence requires negligible investment by the brand. So once again, that is a plus point to it. Now, what are the examples of earned media? Media is said to be earned when the brand becomes featured in or a part of, for example, news article or news shows or documentaries, or when it organically becomes trending on social media websites. By organically, we mean that it actually happens. It's not like that someone pays for it or someone does it by other means. So it doesn't have to be planned and done by on purpose. Rather, it happens organically. So that is the thing. But earned media also has its challenges. It is difficult to crack and can take a long time to occur. Earning media exposure, it happens in a long time. You have to build yourself for that. You have no control over what customers or others say about it, and then consumers can leave negative comments as well. So earned media is going to these characteristics. Earned media is also known as free media because you do not pay for it. It is free media exposure that you get. So it is both considered as earned media and free media. I tend to like it as earned media because you earn it through your work, through your activities, through your branding, through your image. You earn that exposure. Even through your planning, you earn that exposure because you plan certain events and then you get it. So let's go a bit into the details of the differences. See, owned media is communication channels owned or controlled by the brand. We have already discussed this. The examples are websites, blogs, social media profiles, brochures, pamphlets, etc. The list can go on. Paid media is paid communication channels used by the brand to impart information to a wide audience. For a wide audience, ultimately, paid media is basically, most importantly, it is advertisements through your radio, TV, newspaper and stuff. So the examples are TV, radio, newspaper, and social media advertisements. We've discussed these as well. And paid promotions by influencers, whenever you pay influencers to promote your product or your service or your brand, whatever it is. So that is paid media. Now the third one, earned media. It is word of mouth and promotion of the brand done voluntarily. The most important element is voluntarily. It is done voluntarily by third parties. Those third parties can be news channels, influencers, people belonging to the target group, or other. Now, there are times that, for example, there is some influencer, there is some celebrity who actually runs across your brand or your product, and they like something about you, and they voluntarily promote your brand or your product. So this, for example, earned influence. Examples of earned media exposure is getting featured in a news show or in a documentary or news article. These are some of the examples. Now, having said all of these, now there are certain myths that happen. So the key to understanding the owned, earned, and paid media concept is to now not buy into these myths. I'll be discussing 2 myths. Myth number 1: all you need is owned media. It's important to have communication channels and content of your own, for sure. There is no doubt about it. But they alone are not enough. What many small businesses lack with their own channels is reach and scale. You have a website with excellent case studies and excellent resources on it. But it could use more traffic. Obviously, it could use more traffic. Or the Instagram channel for your brand doesn't have a lot of followers and shares of your content through it yet. So your company has a blog, but you don't have time to regularly create content. And when you do, with so much content floating around online today, it's hard to get eyeballs to read your blog. You get it? That's where earned and paid media comes in. They extend your reach, to be successful, you need to amplify and scale your own media channels. Now, I hope you understood it. Now, there's so many people out there who believe that all you need is owned media. You should have your own website, and you should have your own Facebook and Twitter and Instagram accounts and stuff like that. And this is all that you need. So you don't need to invest in the other two types of media, that is earned and paid media. This is where they go wrong. You might do well. You might be very good at, for example, putting up stuff on your website. But how do you get traffic to your website? You need earned media. You need paid media for awareness, for people to actually believe you, to trust you, to even come on check your website. Then they'll get to know what stuff is out there. First thing is to get the traffic going towards your website. Same is the case with your social media presence. Then once again, you need time. You don't have all the time to regularly create content and update it. And even if you, firstly, it is difficult to do it, and secondly, if you do it, there is so much content on the web. So even if you do, there's so much content floating around that it's very difficult for people to get to read your website or get to read your blog or whatever it is. So you need the help of other media. Now, myth number 2. This is very interesting. Paid media is more expensive than any other kind of media. This is the general understanding. Well, we need to recognize that there's a cost to every channel. That cost can be in terms of time, in terms of money, or both. Let's take owned media. Whether it is the time your people spend in improving your website, or writing blog posts for your blog, or commissioning expensive infographics to get people talking, editing videos to share on YouTube, or paying for search engine optimization services to get more traffic to your website. You still have to invest time, money, rather both. It's the same when it comes to earned media. Earned media takes effort to develop at any scale. If you want your content to spread through social media and for social discussions to spring up about your products, it means you have to put in efforts into developing your social media channels. You must build your social media profiles, engage with customers, create content, and you must also do it consistently, week in and week out. You must stick with it. Paying attention to your Twitter account, let's suppose once every 5 months, it won't do much. It won't help you. So if you want to earn influencer mentions, you may have to reach out to bloggers or social media personalities via email to share that new infographic that you produced. Or you may need to engage in guest blogging on third-party blogs to get people to pay attention to you and to your brand. So here again, you have to do it consistently over time. One guest blog post may help, but it's hardly enough to move the needle far. So once again, it's not just that for paid media you pay upfront. For other media, it goes in a slow, chunk by chunk. That's why people find it difficult. So the most important thing is not to buy into these two myths. And so before assuming that advertising is more expensive than the other two forms of media, consider all kinds of expensive in terms of human resource, in terms of time, in terms of money. So with the hours that you put in for your own owned media, to update your own media, then the level of expertise that you need to hire to run your own media 24/7, 365 days a year. So you need to consider this as well. So with considering all the expenses, you might understand what it is. Like you need to consider the value of your time and your team's time too. For example, for owned media, many times it is you who has to actually recheck or has to even go through any important things before those are posted on owned media. So you do not have, like, you have to put in time for everything, your personal time as well as your teams. So most small business owners, they underestimate the cost of marketing they do in-house, in which they invest precious time. So they just do not estimate the cost. Otherwise, they are paying in, and time is very, 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 very important these days. So those who actually do not understand the value of time, they lose it. The best practice today is to use a combination of owned, earned, and paid media. You can use one media channel to amplify or extend another type. These three need to work hand in hand for you to be successful as a brand or an organization. So I'll be discussing some examples of ways to combine owned, earned, and paid media in a small business context to make for more powerful marketing. First of all, create content on your blog, which is your own media. Share it on Facebook to generate earned media. However, you only reach a small percentage of your fan base organically. To extend your reach, make it a sponsored post by paying for it, which becomes paid media to get wider visibility for it. So you got it? You actually created one thing on your own media, then you share it on Facebook to generate earned media so that other people actually share it or like it. So that is your earned media. And since your reach is limited, so you make it a sponsored post so that, for example, Facebook makes its ads and shows it to so many people, and that actually becomes paid media. This way you get wider visibility for it. Secondly, crowdsource some advice and tips from your customers or loyalty community members for an ebook on your website, which is your own media. So this is crowdsourcing. Then share it on your company's channel or on SlideShare, and reach out individually by email to send a copy of the ebook to each community member who submitted a tip. Most will share the ebook with their social networks since they will have their names on it, as they will be proud of their contribution, and you generate more earned mentions. Once again, you get earned media. Then you may pay some influencers, and paying them is paid media to create interesting and shareable content for your company, for your company's blog or website, which is your own media. Then amplify it heavily through social media to generate earned mentions. See, they all go hand in hand. One more tip or example, create special Facebook only discounts, which is paid media. To take advantage of them, people must like your page. Studies show that discounts are a primary reason people follow and interact with brands on social media. So when they like your page, you have their attention. That also means you have the start of relationship with them, which leads potentially to earned media. See, these all go hand in hand. There are no hard and fast boundaries that if you are doing public relations, so you should stick to that, and if you are doing advertising, so you should stick to that. It actually, in current times, these things have mixed up together. They need to go hand in hand for any organization to increase, generate goodwill or to increase its revenue. So they go together. So when you combine owned, earned, and paid media, it expands your reach, which we have already discussed. You get wider reach than from a single channel alone. So don't think about a single marketing technique in isolation, such as blogging or being active on Twitter. Think instead about how you can combine techniques. Although owned, earned, and paid media are used in different ways, they're all interconnected and they work together to contribute to a complete marketing strategy. What's more, the ultimate goal of all three channels is the same: to generate awareness and engage users. This is what you want. So earned media can, for example, help people to find your own media channels, and paid media can boost your own media, which can lead to earned media because more people have heard of and used your brand. By incorporating all three elements, you can be rest assured that you're doing everything you can to create a well balanced marketing mix that's going to get you the results you desire. That's all for today. See you.